Oh, good morning, or at least it is for me. It's like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, something like that. Today's video, vacuum lines. Um, let's see. Yeah, that goes here. Okay, so all 1.6s and 1.9s out of 40 XPs and the Escorts that were equipped with them, 1981 through 1988, 89. They all have tons of these vacuum lines. Some are carbureted, some are not. I don't know if the EFI ones have as many vacuum lines. I know all these carb ones have an insane amount of vacuum lines. Yeah, this is a 1.9 that someone had converted to carb. Being the EFI models had the better engine specs, you just throw carbs on it, keep the electronic timing, or you can make it the timing it came with, because that's just fine. But there's all these vacuum lines, and it's a lot harder to see all of them inside an actual car. But once you get the engine out, or at least the intake manifold out, you can see it all. But yeah, this intake, it has, let's count them up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 vacuum lines coming just out of the intake manifold. And you can see that someone had bypassed a lot of them, plugged them up, and that's just fine, because there's way more here than what you need. And you've probably seen on my 1982 EXP, my blue one that I'm restoring, that it has 1,000 of these things everywhere, because it is the California emissions optional extra, which is just stupid to say the least. So I got way more of these than I need in my EXP, and now that I know where they go, I can start removing them, because they're the source of many vacuum leaks. So every place you have one of these, you have a place for at least 2 possible leaks, where one end of the line is and where the other end of the line is. And then you could have, say, like a melted line. If this guy ran up against the block right here, got really hot at one point, block would just eat right through this stuff off the heat. So, from what I can see, I believe on the firewall of your car there is a vacuum line hub. It's just this metal plate that has a whole bunch of vacuum line ports on it, and it all runs to different parts of the vehicle, in the engine bay, that is. And it all takes vacuum lines from certain things to certain places, so we can measure that stuff. So, you can see they also plugged up a whole bunch of the vacuum lines on the lid, which is just fine. Because, like I said, everywhere you got one of them, you got potential for a vacuum leak, which hurts your fuel economy, hurts your performance, everything. But you need one here. One of these is a breather tube for the carb, or the rest of the air filter, sorry. You can see that the hose on the outside here goes from maybe it's high or low pressure over here, and then it's higher or lower pressure for that hose goes into underneath the airbox. And then all these other ones go elsewhere. And yeah, you can just plug them off. But in your car, yeah, you can plug them off at this end, but then you need to cap off the vacuum line wherever it's coming from. So like if these two vacuum lines go down to one of these ports, I don't know if they do or not, but if they do, you need to block them off at both ends. Otherwise you'll have a massive vacuum leak somewhere else. If you simply try to cap off some of these without capping off the whole rest of the vacuum system. This is your valve cover breather. The caps of these suckers like to fall off, but keep the caps on it. Do your best. And the clips like to come off of these little filter guys. You can actually buy this straight from Fleet Farm still, and they come with the little metal clips to hold that on. So you can just go to Fleet Farm, buy this for like $2, put it in, and you won't have this problem. So I'll be visiting Fleet Farm sometime soon to get a whole bunch more of them. And then this guy goes to a hose, which goes to some other vacuum component. But you can see they removed everything that's unessential, and so all that's left now is just vacuum line off the vacuum assisted timing, spark advance. I ran it to the intake manifold, so the spark advance runs off the intake manifold, and it's electronic. And then the two vacuum ports on the back side of the carburetor go to the vacuum ports off the carburetor, not carburetor, intake manifold. Jeez, everything else you can block off. From what it seems like, I have to do further research because I'm not sure where all of these go. I know some of them are for like the cruise control. So if you have the cruise control module in your car, you need to make sure you're not deleting what you need. You need to be careful with that kind of stuff, otherwise you won't have cruise control, or maybe it'll malfunction. So do some research. I think the best time to go through and figure out what you want to remove is when the engine is actually out of the car. That's probably the best time to remove all that stuff. Same with PCVs. Remove them if you can. I'm told if you have the turbo model you can't. They're imperative, otherwise you have oil going places it shouldn't. But in all my EXPs, these fail, and then they are a giant source of backfiring. And it sucks because when these are on, the bolts that hold them on are almost always rusted on. Like on this Duratec, it's rusted on. That is not coming off. That's there forever. So whenever one of them fails, you have to get a whole new manifold, a whole new exhaust manifold. So you can see someone capped it off because they didn't need it for demolition derby. And then they plugged the vacuum line going in it. So I think those are terrible. Like I said, they fail and your engine will backfire. And it's not good when you're trying to go to high school and every time you let up the gas, it sounds like someone's shooting a shotgun in your backseat. Not cool. So, got rid of that crap on my 82. Plug that up. I suspect there's a few other things that can be removed or rerouted. Like, I'm not completely sure, but there's a coolant line here that runs all the way next to the block, all the way down underneath the block, comes back up to the top side. Joins with a coolant source there, and then that goes to the radiator, and then radiator comes back over to this guy where your thermostat is, somewhere down in there. So yeah, with these guys there's a lot of things to delete and reroute, and you'll almost always get away with it on these guys because if you have an 82 or 83, there's no computer to say that you can't do that in the car unless yours is an EFI model. So you can get away with a lot of stuff that will help your performance and your fuel economy. So we'll let it go for there. Catch you guys later.